We're live. Welcome. 9:11 p.m. Look at that. 911. On this March 7th. I think it's a Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. March 7th, 2024. Well, yeah, and it is 9/11. 9/11. I've been coming on after 9, which I don't really want. I don't try to. I'm not trying to. As I was ready to come on, I realized my dogs have not eaten yet, and I baked them some chicken, and they got their dinner cooling off. And anyway, I thought I gotta feed them before I come on here, or it's gonna be another hour or two before they eat. So anyway, they just are eating right now. Happy mommy fed ya, huh? Yeah, that's my Caleb here, and they're happy with their tummies filled, huh? Yeah, they had chicken, green beans, baked chicken quarters with green beans, kibble, and chicken gravy, which they really like. Anyway, everybody's happy now. I can sit down and go through part 3 of Strange Bible Stories, or actually, I forgot what I said. It's part 3, Strange Stories from the Bible. Same thing, Strange Bible Stories. Strange Stories from the Bible. And this is part 3. And because it is Thursday, we're finishing this up. We are going to be doing open chat tomorrow night. Bible trivia, as always on a Friday night. As almost always. Usually we do. It's been kind of a tradition since I came on. And we got away from it for a little bit, but no, I like it. Good way to end the week. How about you? So you boys happy? Okay, let me see. Oh, nice tummy sprout. There you go, boy. They always come over so I can feel their tummy. It's a little thing we do. I feel their tummy and say, whoa, nice tummy. And it makes them happy. Anyway. Guys. Yep, now they're ready to settle down. As I go through this, we don't have many left. I think there was 23 we started with over here, most disturbing parts of the Bible. We're at number 8 as a countdown, so we got 8 left. Killer bears. Now, this is from an article we've been going through the last 2 nights. This is the 3rd night, final night. From grunge.com. Weird history, crime, entertainment, science. Anyway, it is from an article called The Most Disturbing Parts of the Bible Ranked from, let's say, 23 on down. They have a lot of pop-up ads. we did learn that. For stuff I have no interest in. I don't know if it's just this site. It's just crazy. Anyway. But, yeah, so we started at 23, and we're going all the way down here. Let's... Down to... all the way down to number 8. That's where we're going to begin tonight. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here it is. The Killer Bears. Here's where we left off yesterday. So we ended at human sacrifice. Yeah. Abraham and Isaac. Look at his face. It does not even look like a human-shaped head. That's kind of funny. Let's see. So, here we are. Killer bears. Now, my dogs are ringing the bell to go out. And they just ate, so I'm gonna go ahead and let them out. So give me just 1 minute here. All right, I was having trouble unmuting it. That was weird. Come back on. All right, so one of them went out, and I'll give him a few minutes, and we'll get started right now, though. I don't know. I have to remember to let him in. All right, we're going to start at number 8, and we're counting down from 23. We're at number 8, and this is called Killer Bears. Kodiak bear or something, big brown bear. All right, so, and I hope everyone had a nice day. Thanks for listening, and if you're listening on the replay, thanks for listening on the replay. And we'll begin. These. Oh my goodness, these ads are just like, it's like whack-a-mole. It's insane. Anyway, they try to cover up the articles. You're forced to click on it. Anyway. So we shall begin. There are many more risks to children in the Bible than being sacrificed. In Kings, the prophet Elisha is walking on a road when a group of little children starts mocking him for him being bald. Elisha then curses them, and immediately 2 bears run out of the woods and maul 42 of the children to death. Like I said, there's the kind of stories that I think they could have probably used the space a little better than stories like this. Anyway, the most common interpretation of the story is that everyone should respect authority. Well, excuse me. So much for patience and forgiveness and all that. All that nonsense, right? Hold on a second. My dog's. I might have to let him in. But anyway, yeah. So just we're gonna go with the 42 bears. I mean the 42 kids getting mauled by 2 bears. Not 1, but 2. Make sure none of them got away. Really doesn't make any sense. But anyway, the most common interpretation for the story is that everyone should respect authority, because God won't tolerate anyone, even small children, making fun of his representatives. Make fun of God's representatives. They're bald. So what the kids? Just, being mauled by a bear is a horrifying way to die. In fact, I just saw a guy on YouTube that I saw like 20 or 19 or whatever. There's a lot of YouTubers that died during their filming on YouTube. And this dude got mauled by a bear. They didn't really show it, but you can get the gist of it. Anyway, what a horrible way, huh? Now imagine all these little children and stuff like. So we're supposed to. Anyway. Don't make fun of God's representatives. However, some modern Christians argue that little children was actually a mistranslation. Okay, was it though? Oh man, yes, brings me up to something else. Anyway, and it is actually supposed to be 42 male servants who were killed by bears. Oh, I see. So it's not as bad if 42 male servants who made fun of his bald head were killed. It's one step up from 42 children. And that really makes no sense for adults to be, really was it a mistranslation? Don't say some people. Either it is a mistranslation or it isn't. Very easy to check on it. But anyway, I doubt 42 male servants were mocking another man for being bald. I don't know. I mean, it might happen. I guess it happens, but come on, really? What a cream puff. If he has to have God send out bears to kill everybody because of that. Really? So much for patience and long suffering. Okay. They also argued that the reason that they were killed wasn't as seemingly petty as it appears, and that rather that Elisha is being offended by taunts about his hair loss. The bears were called to kill the group because they worship different gods. Right, but it doesn't say that. You can't just add. See, these are apologists. These are people coming in saying, well, maybe. Actually, what it means is, no, it didn't say that, though. Did it say that? No. Story about kids being mauled by bears because they made fun of God's, one of God's guys. And they turned that in. No, they were actually adults and they were worshiping false gods. Like, that's not what it says. Anyway, people just want to make up stuff. Well, I guess it doesn't sound so bad. It sounds like they actually deserve it now. Now it sounds like they deserve it. They had it coming. Oh, well, they're adults making fun and doing false god stuff. Then why even bring in the part about the bears? I mean, that makes no sense. All right, testing loyalty. Oh, gosh. The book of Job addresses the question of why bad things happen to good people. In Job's case, it's because of a bet. And really, the whole reason Job lost everything is because he was very loyal to God and righteous. That's why he got picked to be destroyed. Job is a pious man. You know what is funny? If you look it up, Job actually is worships astrology stuff. It even says in Job what he worshipped, and I can't remember. It starts with an M, I think. But I looked it up, and it is astrology. Job was into astrology. Job is a pious man. Even God himself says, "There's no man on earth as blameless and upright as he." So why would God do all those things just for a bet and just for fun? I mean, for entertainment. This is the reward he's getting for being upright, pious, and righteous, and whatever else they just said, loyal. Pious and everything else. This is what he gets. Job is only loyal. Well, however, Satan suggests that that Job is only loyal because he has God's blessings and has a wonderful life. God accepts Satan's challenge and decides to test Job's loyalty by taking away everything he has. I don't like that story at all. I used to like it, but if you really think about it, okay, if you worked for somebody your whole life, loyal and just broke yourself for them, and they did very well because of your loyalty and your service to them, and then they just destroyed your life so they could show their friend how loyal you are. I mean, that'd be a sick thing to do. It'd be on like a Discovery Channel movie, you know what I mean? Like some horrible Saturday afternoon matinee, you know what I mean? But when God does it, oh, that's fine. God kills Job's children and destroys his home. You notice it says God kills his children. The devil doesn't. They make it seem like it, but obviously it's under God's watch here. All right, God kills Job's children and destroys his home. Job continues to praise God. Then God has the devil give Job a horrific skin condition. His friends believe he must have sinned, or God wouldn't have punished him, because the just man is rewarded and the sinner is punished. Right, and up till this time here, that was the rule, right? It should be the rule. That seems like a just God would have this kind of a rule. But it's not. In this case, everything's flipped upside down, and the just man is being punished. Job, on the other hand, argues that he isn't being punished. He's making excuses here. Instead, it's just that God wants to torment him without reason. God is cruel. God tells Job that he's all knowing, and Job is not saying you know little of the world and you can do less about it. Ultimately, God gives Job everything he had before and more. Although some critics argued in chapters detailing that Job's restorations are not from the original book. I heard that too. I heard that in the original, because this came long before Genesis and everything else. These are old Mesopotamian story. And I think in the original, God does not restore everything back, but they added that he gets everything back, and then gets more kids that are even better looking than the first ones. Which, in the girls' case, they get more money for them. I mean, when they go to sell them. Anyway, plagues of Egypt. Oh my goodness. Hello to whoever came in. Thanks for the thumbs up. Oh, I didn't even pull my chat up. Look at me not having my chat pulled up. Hold on a second. Which I better mute this thing. There we go. I didn't even have my chat up. Forgot. I had it up, and then I went and corrected something on an edit, and then when I came back, I forgot to put it back on. So, I think it is muted. Yeah. All right. Very good. And it's a go. So thank you and welcome whoever came in. A little bit ago. Here we go. Lost my dang page. All right. Plagues of Egypt. Famously. Wait a second. Let's see if I can get more of this in there. Famously, in chapters 7 through 12 of the book of Exodus, God sends a series of 10 plagues to force the Egyptian Pharaoh to release the Hebrews he had enslaved. And isn't that something? God is totally for slavery. No problem, gives you rules to take care of your slaves and all this, and what tells the rules for the slaves. But boy, when the Hebrews get enslaved, all hell breaks loose. He's not going to stand for it. And even after they came out, it would have been different. It would have been really cool for the story if, like, before they went into slavery, they had slaves and all that stuff. And then once they were slaves and they came out as God brought them out of slavery, then they would know from then on that slavery was wrong and bad, right? No. They come out of, in fact, what do? They come out of slavery with their slaves of their own. Which is probably where Hagar came from, the Egyptian slave. Anyways, today we would call that human trafficking. Having these 12 and 13, 14-year-old girls being shipped from different countries for sale. That's what they did. I mean, if you want a biblical marriage, that's it. You get bought and purchased. If you're a girl, you get bought and purchased. And, like it or not. All right. Famously, in chapters 7 through 12 of Exodus, God sends a series of 10 plagues to force the Egyptian Pharaoh to release the Hebrews he had enslaved. First, the Nile River turns into blood. Then, all of Egypt is covered in frogs, which hop into people's beds and get into cooking, and swarms of bugs which cover everything and eat all the crops, causing famine. Next, a gruesome skin disease causes the people and animals of Egypt to break out in boils. Terrible. By the way, in the whole meantime, there are probably righteous people and children that have done nothing wrong, and animals that have done nothing wrong. Even God couldn't say they did anything wrong, but they're all suffering and dying, causing famine. Next, A gruesome skin disease that causes people and animals to break out in boils. Just like Job. This is just like the same story of Job, except with on a mass scale. You know, your crops, your crops die, the slaves die, get uh, and even right down to the breaking out in boils. You should at least said it was a rash or I don't know, leprosy or something. But they even use the boils. Anyway, all right. Then a gruesome skin disease causes people and animals. And how fair is that? The poor animals all had boils on them. I mean, what? To break out in Egypt, to break out in boils. Terrible storms. Imagine these little puppies and kittens with boils all over them. They're dogs and cats and cows and little sheeps and everything with boils all over them. Terrible. Chickens. All right. Terrible storms kill anyone caught in them, and the sun vanishes for 3 days, throwing the entire kingdom into darkness. Finally, the oldest boy in every family is killed by God in one terrible night. These plagues are certainly disturbing enough on their own, but even more distressing is the fact that God seems to have wanted these catastrophic events to happen. Well, he not just wanted them, he made them happen. He made sure they did. Although the plagues seem to be punishment for the Pharaoh refusing to free the enslaved Hebrews, it seems that God is the one who made him refuse. That's right. He makes the Pharaoh refuse. He hardens his heart and makes the Pharaoh say no over and over. Whether the Pharaoh wants to say no, he has to. So God puts him saying no, whether he's not free will anymore. Pharaoh does not have free will. He has to say no. God makes him say no. So then everybody continues to be killed. So what? So God can show his power? Like I said, wouldn't it be better to show your power, show everybody after there's been no rain and stuff to bring rain, or show everybody how all the fruit trees can just grow fruit on every fruit tree that one in one day. That would show his power. There's so many good ways to show his power, but this is just like a murder on a rampage because he's going to show his power. Like, dude, you could show your power, I don't know, doing a lot of other things. Good things, you know what I mean? As Exodus tells us, before Moses asks his people to be freed, God tells him, I will harden the Pharaoh's heart so that he will not let the people go. That way, everybody's going to suffer. Because, why? So we can see how tough God is. God, the Bible. Yahweh. I gotta let my dog in because he's just sitting out there. He wants to hang outside. I don't want to forget about him. Hey, be quiet. Where am I killing it? Caleb's outside all by himself. No. Come on, Caleb. Let him in. No, not mommy's spot. Not mommy's spot. No, that's mommy's spot. Good boy. All right. How are you? All right. I didn't let the German Shepherd out, so he's grumbling. He just looked at me and went, mm. All right, number 5, murder and dismemberment. Wonderful, huh? These are the stories in the Bible that you will not hear on Sunday at church. These are the stories that take up most of the Old Testament, actually. How do they help us? Well, I don't think they do. But anyway, I could watch, an episode of, I don't know, some true murder crime story and get the same thing. The story of the Levite and the concubine is a brutal one. I just hate this story. So disgusting. And by the way, this is a Levite, okay? This is where the priestly line comes from. The story of a Levite, okay? This is a Levite. Oh, you know, the priests, the Levites, the priestly class or whatever. The tribe of Levi, the priests come from. Yeah, well, he's got this sex slave here. So the priest has a sex slave. I'm sure he's got more than one. But in this story, his sex slave is not making him happy. And anyway, so this holy Levite priest and his sex slave. Yeah, the story of a Levite priest and his sex slave is a brutal one. According to women in Judaism, the young woman called a concubine was likely the Levite's second wife. Well, she was a sex slave. The two are traveling and looking for a place to spend the night. They're invited to spend the night in someone's house, but ominously warned not to buy an old man. Were warned not to probably go by an old man they have a misprint here. And this is very, very parallel to the story of Lot with the two angels. And they wanted to rape the angels. It's the same story, except instead of the raping crowd not wanting the women, in this story, the raping crowd takes the woman and does brutal things to her all night, and she crawls home. And actually, the guy, this Levite priest, gives her to the crowd. To save his own ass. Anyway. And she's brutally killed and makes it home, and he just is just cold as can be. Anyway. So they're invited to spend the night in someone's house, but ominously warned not to some old man they meet. That night, the men in the city, a perverse Lot, surrounded the house. It's the same as Sodom and Gomorrah story with Lot. And it even has the word lot, like a perverse lot, isn't that? I mean, they even use the word lot. Surrounded the house. This group demands that the group's host send the Levite out so they can have their way with him. Okay, so they want to rape the priest. All right. Just like they wanted to rape the angels in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. To save himself, okay, for this priest, this Levite priest, to save himself, the Levite forces the concubine out to the mob. So he takes his second wife, or whatever you want to call it, his other wife, and throws her out to the angry mob. She does not survive the night. The next morning, the Levite discovers the concubine body outside the door to the house. By the way, this woman, this Levite priest, to save himself from being raped, he throws his wife, the woman he purchased, throws her out to the angry crowd. They take her away. She's brutally raped all night. And she literally crawls on her hands and knees, crawls all the way home. And she gets to the doorway, and she reaches her hand out to the door, and her fingertips are literally touching the threshold of the door. So he opens up the door, and he's like, what the hell? He's not even caring about her. Anyway, it's a horrible story. After he's the one that threw him out to save his own rear end. Anyway, so the next morning, the Levite discovers the concubine body outside the door because she had crawled on her hands and knees all the way home, thinking he would help. But he didn't. He brought the body, so she's dead. By the time he opens the door, she's dead. He brought the body back home with him dismembered the corpse into 12 pieces, Dahmer style, and sent each part to a tribe of Israel as a cry for vengeance. Well, there you go. I mean, who wouldn't cut up their wife, one of their wives, into 12 pieces, the one that you threw out into the crowd to get raped and murdered? And when she crawls back home, you take her and chop her into 12 pieces and send each one to a tribe of Israel. Wow. Just wow. Unbelievable. This story might seem uniquely horrific, but there's another story that begins almost the exact same way, with a violent mob surrounding the house, only to be offered a sacrifice. That's of Lot, exactly. It's it's a story of Lot, except way worse. You won't hear these on Sunday at church. Sexual violence and incest. Well, that's pretty much about half the Old Testament right there. The incest and rape and all that. Anyway, the story of Lot and his daughters in Genesis has a similar premise to the story of the Levite and the concubine, but ends very differently. Two angels come to Sodom, planning to spend the night in the town square, but Lot urges them not to. Instead, the two angels stay with Lot's family. That night, every single man in Sodom surrounds the house and demands that Lot send the two angels out. Lot makes the mob a horrific offer. I beg you, my brothers, do not act so wickedly. Behold, I have two daughters who have not known any man. And ironically, he'll be the first to have sex with both of them. Anyway, let me bring them out to you and do to them as you please. Nice, Dad. The mob refuses. The city of Sodom is going to be destroyed by God, so Lot and his family make their escape. But Lot's wife is turned into a pillar of salt for looking back at the burning city. This leaves Lot alone with the two virgin daughters he tried to sacrifice. Yeah. Lot and his daughters go into hiding, and the two young women worry that they will never have children since they aren't able to meet any men. As described in folklore, that's interesting. The two decide to make our father drink wine and then lie with them. And this way, the family be kept alive. Their plan works. Both daughters become pregnant by their own father. And the interesting thing, they say folklore, and I think the reason they're saying this, because I don't believe it was in the original writings. Because it ends up to be their children. I can't remember the one name, but the other child born his name is Moab, Moab, and Moab is over there now. That's where the tribe Moab came from. As a matter of fact, that was also supposedly the bloodline of Jesus and whatever, King David and everybody else. So this incestual bloodline, I think somebody added this into the story to automatically make the Moabites look, well, they're incest children of incest. So I don't know, it doesn't give a good look to the Moabites. Anyway, well, hey, Grace. Oh, okay, welcome. Good to have you with. I thought you were the one that gave me the thumbs up. I had a vibe that Grace gave me that thumbs up. Good to see you tonight, Grace. Hope you're having a great evening. Lot and his daughters go into hiding. Yeah, and the two young women worry that they will never have children since they weren't able to meet any men. And this is also something I want to say is not true, because they already knew that there was another city that was still had people in it, which I think is probably maybe a part of a doublet. I think one writer didn't think there was anybody left, and the other writer did, so they just combined the two stories. The two decide to make their father drink wine and lie with them, and they lie with him. And this way, they keep the family alive. Their plan works. Yay! Both daughters become pregnant by their own father. All right. And today you have the Moabites, the incestual nation. Well, they want you to think that. I don't know. I think that was thrown in there to make the Moabites look bad. Next, 3, cannibalism and infant death. Ooh, more stories of the Old Testament. This is what the Old Testament's made out of. Nothing helpful. Nothing like, oh, okay, you know what? After reading these cannibalism stories, I've decided I'm never going to eat my children. And you know what? I'm never going to throw my daughter out to a raping crowd. Yay, I'm glad I read that story. Otherwise, I would have. All right, cannibalism and the infant death. There are many forms of violence against infants in the Bible. Oh, yeah. But one of the most horrific, and by the way, most forms of violence against infants of the Bible is from God himself in the Bible. Now, I'm going to say God of the Bible because I don't believe God is God of the Bible. I think the God of the Bible is some Canaanite God, Yahweh, that is just bloodthirsty and wicked. I don't believe that's actual God, so I'd say God of the Bible. But so most of the infants and innocent people that die in the Bible is from Yahweh, the God of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? It's not, and if they're not, they're killed because God told humans to go kill them. If God didn't kill them himself, he had somebody go in there and kill the babies. You know, if God didn't kill the babies, he had his people do it. But the babies are going to die one way or another. And that's not, to me, that's not God. A God would not do that. Anyway, there are many forms of violence against infants in the Bible, but one of the most horrific incidents takes place in Kings. The king is asked to rule on a particularly horrific case. The kingdom is going through a terrible famine. And when a woman asks for an audience, the king assumes she's there to ask for food. The truth is much more sinister. The woman is there to ask for help because her friend didn't go through with her side of the deal. When all the food ran out, the two women made a bargain that they would kill and eat their own infant children. The woman said to me, "Give me your son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow." So we boiled my son and ate him. On the next day, I said to her, "Give your son, that we may eat him." But she's hidden her son. The woman seems to hope that the king will force her friend to give up her child, but all he does is tear at his clothes. And as a matter of fact, this is the story that everybody heard, whether you knew the Bible or not. You knew about King Solomon, but you didn't hear about the eating the babies. You didn't hear about the part where they're going to eat the babies, and they already ate one baby. Mommy and the two mommies already ate one baby. Now the two mommies want to eat another baby, but one mommy's hiding the baby, so you can't boil them and eat them. Like, well, you don't hear that part. You just heard like, well, there was two mothers that claimed the both claimed that son was theirs. So King Solomon said, "Let me cut the baby in half, and you'll get half, and you'll get half." And then the real mom said, "No, let her have the baby." Well, you didn't hear about the eating that. They just got done eating one of them. Anyway. All right. Again, something you won't hear in Sunday church. Number 2. Ooh. Almost everything in Revelation. Yes, almost everything in the book of Revelation is disgusting and evil and violent and wicked. And but it's just, right? People had it coming. The final book in the New Testament is Revelation to John. Oh, by the way, oh man, you guys, something. I had epiphany. I had a revelation yesterday, I think it was. Out of nowhere, I'm thinking about the book of Revelation. People think it's written by John, right? The disciple John. I can debunk that. It came out of nowhere yesterday. Just like, wait a minute, wait. John, the disciple John, was from the Sea of Galilee. He was a Galilean, and they flat out said they don't know how to read or write, right? They don't know how to read or write. So in the book of Revelation, when Jesus says, John, my faithful companion, write this down. Write what you hear down and you see down in a book. Write this all down. Well, John doesn't know how to read and write. And he said, well, maybe he was writing in heaven. No, he wasn't. He was on the island of Patmos. He was still alive as a human being. You think all of a sudden he went to college and learned how to write and read and write? Nope. So how can Jesus say to John, write this down in a book when John doesn't know how to read or write? Hey, Troll, good to see you again. Yeah, busted again, yeah. Good to see you this morning, Troll. Yeah, busted again. Good to see you. You're talking about back here, right? You're talking about this last story, yep. I just saw your and good morning to you, Troll. So yeah, John, the disciple John, could not have written the book of Revelation because he doesn't know how to read and write. He's on the island of Patmos. Where's he getting these pens and pencils? And paper. Most of all, the paper. People couldn't even afford. Rich people had paper and pen. And anyway, so John could not have written the book of Revelation because he didn't know how to read or write, and he was still alive. So it's not like he's in heaven now, he knows. The final book of the New Testament is a Revelation to John, which forwardly describes the end of the world. Despite how widely known parts of the book are, the sheer scale of the horror and death is still shocking to modern readers. As described in 1999 by a professor of religious studies. Oh, here's James Tabor. Look at that. James Tabor got in the article. He's on YouTube. He's the one that did all those archaeological things over in Israel. He's got a channel now. James Tabor for PBS. Oh, what the heck? Someone once tallied up the death count and projected on a modern world such as ours with 5 billion people. That must be an old article because now there's 8, I guess. It's absolutely a horrible kind of a statistic. You come up with maybe 4 billion dying of famine, war, earthquake, and plagues. That's a fatality rate of 4 out of every 5 people in existence, which as of late 2023 would be well over 6 billion horrifying deaths. There you go. There are many terrifying enemies of humankind in Revelation, including the beast, also known as the Antichrist, and Satan himself. But in Revelation, these monsters are only sidekicks to the one actually destroying the world and killing billions of people. God, yes. The monster in the book of Revelation is not the beast or the Antichrist or Satan. He's not the one that kills everybody. The one who kills everybody is God. God's wrath turns the oceans to blood. And by the way, they're just knocking off of the plagues in Egypt. God's wrath turns the oceans to blood, splits part of the land, and blots out the sun. Same as in the plagues of Egypt. It is his storms and diseases that kill everyone, just like the plagues in Egypt. And when Jesus Christ finally appears, it isn't to save humanity, rather than preaching peace, as Jesus often does in the rest of the New Testament. He arrives as a conqueror, seizing control of the last bastions of civilization by force. As stated in Revelation 2:27, he will rule them with a staff of iron and dash them to pieces like pottery. Psh. Yeah, so the real killers, the big killers in Revelation is Jesus and God. They're the ones killing everybody, not Satan and the Antichrist or the beast. All right, genocide and incest again. More incest. What do I keep saying? This is what the Bible's about. Rape, incest, I don't know, backstabbing, war, killing babies, infants, and innocent puppies and kittens and babies and little lambs and sheeps. Right. Genocide and incest again. Yep, more incest. Noah's Ark. Yeah, more incest. Here we go with the Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark is probably one of the best known Bible stories. Well, part of it, right? And I don't think they're telling you in church about the getting drunk and the naked part. Anyway, this is partially because all the animals in the story make it appealing to children, like a petting zoo. In fact, is often considered a good bedtime story. Really? I would never tell the kid a story like this before he goes to bed. Oh, and then all the bad people, well, everybody in the whole world got drowned. God drowned them. This is a good bedtime story? I don't know. However, when examined, the story is anything but kid-friendly. That's right. In Genesis, God intends to destroy all life on earth because he feels that they have sinned. But one family on a floating zoo are spared. God warns Noah of the flood. So they will have enough time to build a boat, 100 years. A boat large enough for him, his wife, and his 3 sons and their wives, as well as 2 of each kind of animal. But there's 2 stories. The other story says it's 7 of the clean and 2 of the unclean. And in other story, it's 2 by 2. So anyway, side note. God sends the flood, and it kills everyone. And it kills every single living being on the planet. The only survivors are those in the ark. They are left to repopulate the earth. In fact, they are specifically told by God to do so in Genesis 9:7, when God instructs, "As for you, be fruitful and increase in number," just like in Genesis 1 or 2. "Multiply on the earth and increase upon it." However, because there was only 1 pair of each animal and 8 humans on the ark, this means that all the animals on the planet would be from only 2 animals, and every human would be ancestrally descendant from Noah's children, right? Doesn't make any sense. All right. And that's it. Yeah, so if you believe that, everybody's from 2 people. Anyway. And that's it. We did finish. Get back into the chat. Good morning, Tro. We're allies now? We are? We were always allies, Tro. Let's see, we joined NATO yesterday. Not that we regular people had any say about it. The games, the elite polls on it, yeah. Yeah, congratulations on your new membership. Alright, cool. Yep, they do play their games, huh? The psychopaths that run the world. The little games they like to play to keep themselves amused. While the rest of us scrimp and scrape for everything we got. Alright, well, that is cool. Welcome, ally. Yeah, that's about it. It took a lot to get through 23 of those. It took 3 days, but I did do a lot of talking because I do got a lot to say about these stories that are in the Bible that they're not really telling you all about it. Because if they told you about the whole story, you wouldn't want to have that kind of a God. What kind of a God? Anyway, the God of the Bible. That's what kind of God does that. So, anyway, hope everyone had a nice Thursday. I stayed home today. I've been home for. I remember the last time I went out. I think I went out last weekend. I usually go to town about once a week. But today, yep, not too much. Kind of quiet up here. I do sometimes get. Usually, I listen to videos, do my chores, and get stuff ready for the next stream. That's usually what I do during the day. But anyway, I think I'll wrap it up. I see my cat, the stray cats outside are coming up wanting something to eat. They're like clockwork. I think they know how to tell time. They know at about 9 o'clock they get fed, sometimes 10. They're coming out like they have a clock or something. They seem to know that. Thanks. They keep those stories active too. We've heard many stories of the babysitter or parent roasting their baby and putting a baby in a microwave. Yeah. Yeah, just recently actually I just heard that. That is weird that they do that. Yeah, that is child sacrifice. That is. And I mean maybe there's some sicko mother who cracked and I don't know, had problems or something and did that. I just, it's hard to believe somebody did that, but I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah, people do crappy stuff like that, but I also sometimes think some of these stories are there for shock value and to plant ideas into your head and to just plant the thoughts into your head. And I also believe that a lot of these, like they put out these horrible stories 24 hours a day. They just flood. Breaking news. There's just more death, more carnage, more horror, more scary stuff. And I think they do that to lower everybody's vibration down and to get you in a dark place. Because if you are low vibration in a dark place, nothing's gonna go good for you. Nothing is gonna go good for you. You know what I mean? It matters, and you get a whole nation bummed out. Like when Kennedy died, oh, I bet if you were above the United States and you were looking down, I bet it just like the lights went out, just dim, dark and dark and dark and dark. You know, everybody's crying and mourning all at once, and that really makes a difference on the earth and the vibration and the. Anyway, it's not good. Oh, someone came to my door today asking if I lost my child. They found a toddler all by himself and they're trying to locate the parents. Oh, heck no. I would just call the police, I think. Well, I'd look at it first, the closest house or two. And then I'd be calling the police. Because, man, how come there ain't a parent outside screaming, "Where's my child?" You know. Anyway. You know, and I feel the same as like, you assume the parents were found, haven't heard any ambulance or coppers? Yeah. That's good. Because, man, the parents, a lot of them are on drugs or, they're in there playing video games and they have no idea. Watching Netflix, playing video games. And, when my kids were growing up, it was in the 80s, early 80s to the 90s. We had TV, but it wasn't like a whole lot of shows that you could really get glued on. But I don't know. There just wasn't that distractions that they got today, you know what I mean? Anyway. Well, I don't know. Hopefully that don't happen again. And sometimes, I'll see on Cops or them shows that, show police calls and stuff, and there'll be a little kid wandering, you know what I mean? Somebody will find a little kid, and they go back to the house, and the parents passed out, sleeping. Had no idea the kid was even out of the house, you know what I mean? So, Yeah. Unfortunately, the drugs that they've flooded into the world here is just made horrible parents. It made a nation of horrible parents. A lot of them. Not saying all of them. I'm just saying they have all these things to chip away at people's at their good stuff. You know what I mean? And so drugs can turn an alcohol can turn a good parent into a piece of crap. You know what I mean? If because I mean it, drugs can turn and alcohol can turn somebody who would be normally a good person into a thief, a liar, and all these horrible things that they would never have done. I mean, just look at all the drug addicts and the people on the streets and the homeless people and all that. These people would never be like that if they had never been introduced to a drug, and they'd be productive, intelligent, um, successful people, taking good care of their kids. But oh man, they've got these drugs, and I know they worked hard to make them, and I know they worked with all the tax dollars they had. They worked round the clock to get the most disgusting drugs out there on the streets. The drugs that make you sell your soul and not care about anything but the drug. The drug comes first, and it's just like I think they put a lot of time and effort into developing these drugs that turn people into complete a-holes and just monsters. Horrible parents turns a good parent into a horrible parent, a good child into a bad child, a good a good husband or wife into a bad husband or wife. You know what I mean? Just a good person into a bad person, and they did it. And they always have a new drug about every 10 years. You know what I mean? And you know what? They always roll the drug out. They'll introduce the drug because listen, when I was growing up in the 70s, it was Valium. Rolling Stones wrote a song, Mother's Little Helper. I used to really like that song. But it's the Mother's Little Helper, the little yellow pill. They go running for the shelter of the Mother's Little Helper. Well, it was all by design. In the 70s, they would give the housewives Valium so they could chill out because they had too much going on. And that's never happened before. Why all of a sudden the moms need a pill to tranquilize them? Yeah, Valium. Yeah. Yeah. It was all about Valium. So people, today it's Xanax or whatever, but same thing. But they rolled this out, so it just became a thing where the mothers, yeah, moral destruction by design. Thank you. Perfect way to put it. It was all by design, you guys. And that way, a mother she would have never went out and got drugs on the street. No, the doctor gave her that. And she's all messed up and effed up. And then, the kids start to get the pills. And anyway, so the mothers are just wrecked, tore up from the floor up. And then, then later, and it was glorified in those songs and stuff. Then, and normalized, like, hey, it's a cool thing to do. It's Mother's Little Helper. Mommy needs a little help. Or a nippy nip, a little bottle of, liquor stashed in the house, whatever. Then make it seem like, hey, everybody needs a little help, what I mean? And then like every, I don't know, 10 years or so, and then it was in the 80s. Oh, heck, I remember it was crack cocaine. They turned, because cocaine was in the 70s too, but they turned regular cocaine into crack cocaine. And now what they did, they got people and they went into the poor neighborhoods, the black neighborhoods, the poor low-income neighborhoods, and they flooded the streets with this stuff. And it's so much more powerful and quicker, high and more addictive than cocaine ever was. And the problem and the whole thing that they came with it by design was a hefty, like a life prison sentence with crack cocaine, because regular cocaine you could only put them in prison for so long. But crack cocaine was some type of exception where you could get life in prison for it, or 20 years instantly for just a tiny little, less, a crumb. You could get 20 years. So they made this, not only flood the streets with it, but double, triple, quadrupled the sentences if you get caught with it. Yeah, and then they gave out free needles. You know what I mean? Free needles for the heroin and all that, and you know what? And then they'll always have like some famous people die of the next drug they're gonna fight. So when fentanyl came out, nobody heard about fentanyl. Nobody heard about it. Fentanyl is actually used in the operating room. Like surgeons use fentanyl during surgery. I mean, they, not for themselves, but for the patient. I mean, so they have fentanyl during surgery, same as propofol and profanol, whatever the heck that was, that milky white stuff, propofol. And anyway, but you heard about it, when Prince dies of it, right? So Prince dies of the new one. I just forgot what it was. Fentanyl. So Prince dies of fentanyl. They say, yeah, he had these patches all over him, in his pockets, all over the place. And that was just, anyway, that's a whole nother story. Then also, right after that, remember Tom Petty? Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Remember Tom Petty? I remember I was doing a job, and I just came home with a trailer load of logs that I was going to unload back by my fire pit. And I remember driving the trailer and getting out, and I had the radio on, and they said Tom Petty died of and then it came, and I'm thinking, Tom Petty, he was like one of my favorites in the 70s growing up. But anyway, I'm thinking Tom Petty, and what did it come out? Fentanyl. So now everybody's very like familiar with fentanyl. So now when all the people on the street start dropping dead, oh, that's this thing that Prince died from. Her. And not only that, but it peaks. The drug addicts get their interest peaked because, hey, Prince, if he's taking it, I want to try it. Or Tom Petty liked it, I want to try it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. None of it's by accident, but yeah, you will hear. So whenever, in fact, I'm surprised when Michael Jackson died of propofol poisoning. I'm surprised the whole street didn't get flooded with propofol, but it'd be kind of hard. It's like white milky stuff in a syringe. Anyway, but like I said, so whenever you'll hear a celebrity or two, very, very huge celebrities, die of some type of a drug overdose that you've never heard of, watch out, because that's the next drug that they're going to flood the streets with. Yep. Anyway. Yeah. It'd be a different world if you ever see that called that place called Kensington. I think it's called Kensington Street in Pennsylvania. I think it's in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. I can't remember. But they have zombies all over the place. These people that are on this fentanyl or whatever. I don't know what it is. Anyway, these zombie drugs. Notice they're coming out with zombie drugs. Is it Philadelphia? Thank you. Yeah. I thought it was Philadelphia. Yeah, Kensington Street. Yeah, look that up on YouTube. Kensington Street, Philadelphia. They'll drive down the street. Oh my goodness. It's a whole city filled with people. It is horrendous. Horrible. And it almost looks like that's not real. It is real, you guys. People are frozen like statues. And all of them bent over like they're picking up something off of the ground. Everybody's crunched over. And the reason that they're crunched over is because this drug destroys the kidneys. And the only way that they can get any relief is to bend forward. Because when they stand up straight, their kidneys are hurt really bad. So and they keep doing the drug and it keeps wrecking their kidneys. So the longer they do the drug, the more they have to bend over. So they end up eventually like they're picking up something off the ground. And that's how they stay, because their kidneys hurt so bad. I saw an interview of a guy who told us that. That is terrible. Anyway, it was on that, there's a channel called Soft White Underbelly, and they've got This guy interviews the strangest people. Like, very, and a lot of them are very, it's not very good. But, anyway, there was like this guy, I think his name was Johnny, and he was a crackhead. On his own, he's self-described, he's smoked crack his whole life. And he was around all these people doing, it's a fentanyl or whatever, the one that makes them bend over. And he said, "Man, I'm messed up," and dude he's way cracked out. But yeah, good channel, yeah, yeah, he's very interesting. He also does those inbred family. I forgot their last name. But anyway, yeah, he's got a lot of very interesting. And you know what? What I've learned from that channel? I've learned not to judge a book by its cover. Yeah, thank you, the Whitakers. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, the Whitakers. The guy makes a lot of money off of his channel, so he does give some of it back. He helped the Whitakers out quite a bit, and some other people. But I've learned not to judge a book by its cover, even more than I knew not to before. Because there's some people I'm thinking, oh my goodness, and then you click on, because he's got like these black and white pictures of the person. The guy is very artistic with his channel. But when you click on it and you think, oh my gosh, this is what a terrible, what an awful person. Then you listen to the person, listen to their story, and listen to them, and get to know them for 10 or 20 minutes or whatever it is. I don't look at them the same anymore, you know what I mean? So it is, I don't know. His channel is interesting. It's for a lot of different reasons, but I think in one way it's to help. And if you look in the comments section, it does help people to see somebody with spiky hair and tattoos all over their face, and they're on heroin and everything. Look at them as human beings. You know what I mean? These are people, and for studying the afterlife, I've been studying a lot. It's like, what I've learned is that, everybody's down here. We all come with a mission and a purpose. And, we have a path that we want to go on when we come here. We've already planned our life and how we think it's going to go. And then we come here and it goes whatever way it goes. Because we have free will and so does everybody else. And we don't remember that we made a plan to get here. So anything can happen, of course. And anything does happen. But what I've heard from over and over with these studies is that the more times that you come to Earth and the more times you reincarnate, the wiser of a soul that you are. So you can see these little kids. Sometimes I've had them on. I've showed you guys that one. She's like 3 or 4 years old, can barely talk, and she's trying to talk sense into the dad who's not raising the kids right. And they seem like. She's like a 40 or 50-year-old woman in a 4-year-old body. You know what I mean? Like, so wise. And it's like, wow, some kids are born so wise right off the bat, or they're born with these amazing talents, and they can play the piano or the violin, or they can multiply and do math and read. At 3 years old, the more times you come and you cycle, the more talented you are. The more, because you've been here, you've done it. So people can pick up any instrument and play it, and they're just naturally good at it. That's not an accident. That's probably because you played these instruments in another life. Anyway, but what I found out, I guess I should say, what I've learned after watching so many and different people and all these different situations, I found out that, like they say, and it is true, the younger souls, so the ones that are just here for the first time, or maybe the second time around. Some people have been here many, 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 many times. I mean, because you come here to learn. It's a school for different things we talked about. But the ones that come for the first time around, like if you're a young soul, and maybe this is your first time on Earth, experiencing Earth as a experience. doing the Earth experience. um, these are the people who do waste their lives. These are the people who don't really catch on to much. They like to party, they like to drink, they like to waste their days and their time getting high and getting drunk and stealing and not, you know, those are probably people more on their first, they're the people on their first round, you know what I mean? So I see channels. I see channels on YouTube where these people sit all day, every day. They're all drinking, they're getting high, and there's hundreds of them on each channel. And I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of people on YouTube just sitting there, doing their drugs, doing their drinking, and fighting, and just every day wasted. And I think, yes, what a shame, way to waste your life. Or people that just sit and watch TV all day, every day. Don't get out, don't do anything, don't accomplish anything. Not interested in accomplishing anything. These are probably your first time here, yeah, because each time you come back, you will be more interested. And so the older souls, the ones that have been here over and over and over, these people, you can tell, these people have a quest for truth. These people soul search. They they want to know what are they here for? What's their purpose in life? And a lot of them are more it gets a little easier. But they're the more the ones who want to make the most out of their life, living their life to the fullest, living every minute of their life to the fullest. The ones who want to know what's on the other side, want to know the purpose of life, want to know why they're here, delve into religions and all this stuff, and always wanting to know the truth, and like I said, talented in other ways that aren't explainable. And anyway, so you could just so now when I look at people, I see the people, and I don't think nobody sets out to be a drug addict or a alcoholic or somebody who's just obsessed with eating or sex, or the people who have horrible addictions. And nobody sets out to do that or anything like that, but yeah. Grace says, yep, try a walk in their shoes before you start judging. Yeah. And you know what? When you first glance and you see the title of this channel, these people that he's interviewing, you think, oh, yikes. Yikes. And then you watch the video, and then at first you're thinking, oh boy. And then after a bit, I don't know, I start having empathy for people once you start watching, and sympathy and empathy, and just you can say, well, these people are all people, anyway. Some people have a different, everybody's got a different walk, but some people have a much harder walk. And you'll learn hard lessons. The harder things are, the hard lessons. Yeah, I'm blown away by this young kid who a beast on drums, Caleb. He's got a great future ahead. Yeah, isn't that crazy when a kid... I've seen it too. Kids on drums, kids on a guitar, kids on a piano. I mean, what the heck? I could do my whole life and not get that good. Well, yeah, I don't know. There's something about the old soul in these kids. You can kind of tell once you learn these things, you can just look at people. It was great already at age 4. Wow. Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. Good for Caleb. My dog's name is Caleb. Caleb is Hebrew for dog. Caleb is my dog. He's my little baby. And Caleb and Joshua were the ones that went into the promised land. Yep. Yep, I named my dog Caleb. Actually, I named my dog Caleb after Caleb who went into the promised land. Then, right after I named my dog Caleb, my puppy, I named him Caleb, I was talking to, I think I was talking to Casey on the phone, or maybe not. I was either texting her or talking to her on the phone. I can't remember. Casey, our sister Casey. And she said something about Caleb. And I said, I just got a puppy and named him Caleb. And she said, do you know what Caleb means in Hebrew? I said, no. She said, it means dog. I'm like, you're kidding. I just named my dog Caleb, not even knowing that. Anyway. And actually, Caleb also means unbeliever. And that's why, because I just talked about that when in Luke, I think it's in Luke, the Gospel of Luke, when they say, oh, but Master, please help my daughter, or somebody help us, or whatever. Somebody who's sick, and Jesus says, I'm not coming here for you. And she said, oh, but Master, which means teacher, even the dogs eat the crumbs from the Master's table, which means even the believers eat little bits of the word from the teacher's table, that fall off the teacher. So really, I just kind of decoded that. It's kind of an apologetic way. Instead of saying, no, get out of here, you dog, which is what Jesus told that lady. Get out of here, dog. A nicer way to say it is, even the unbelievers need parts of the word that fall from the Master, that come off the Master. That's translated from, even the dogs eat the crumbs from the Master's table. Dog, Caleb, unbeliever. Even the unbelievers. Because Caleb and Joshua, Caleb was actually not, I don't think he was really one of the tribes. I'm not sure. Anyway. Yeah. Yep. That's my Caleb. Call him Wubby. My K-Wub. My Wub. I'm Wubby. My little K-Wubs. Alright, well, I'm going to wrap it up and get off of here and say good night. And, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Thanks for the thumbs up. Tomorrow night is Friday, and we will be doing Bible trivia. Open chat Bible trivia if anybody wants to join in. Caleb H. Drummer is really? I'm gonna check it out. Let me write that down. Caleb H. Drummer. I saw a young girl, a teenage girl that can shred a guitar like you haven't seen. And this girl, she's only like 12 or 13 or 14 or whatever. This girl on electric guitar can play any song from any rock band. Forgot her name, but just amazing. Caleb H. Drummer. I'll check it out. Thanks. Oh, check him out. Show him some love. Anyway, so good night to Troll, good night to Grace, and anybody else that came in and listened. And if you're listening on the replay, thanks for listening on the replay. Appreciate it. If you gave me a thumbs up, thanks for the thumbs up. If you're going to be here tomorrow, thanks for being here tomorrow. If you're here yesterday, thanks for being here yesterday. And, yeah, it'll just be open chat tomorrow. Tomorrow it's Friday already. Actually, you guys, in a couple days on Saturday night, we turn our clocks forward. Is the H for hell of a? Caleb, hell of a drummer. That's good, Grace. All right. Yep, night to you too, Troll. Thanks for coming in. Thanks, everybody. Peace, love, blessings. Rock on. Peace out.